Kol omer kra, va'amar ma'akra. Kol habasar chatzir, v'chol chasto ketzitz hasadeh. Yavesh chatzir navel tzitz ki ruach Adonai nashvabo. Achein chatzir ha'am, Yavesh chatzir navel tzitz, u'devar Eloheinu yakum leolam. A voice says, cry out. But I ask, what shall I cry? All flesh is like grass, all of its beauty like the flower of the field. The grass withers, and the flower fades when a wind from God blows upon it. Surely, therefore, people are like grass. The grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of God endures forever. LeDavid mizmor ladonai haaretz umloa tevel v'yoshveva kihu al yamim yesada v'al nahorot ichonaneha. Mi ya'aleh bahar Adonai umi yakum bimkom kadsho. Neki chapayim uvar levav asher lo nasa lashav nafshi v'lo nishba lamirma. Yisav racha me'et Adonai utzdaka melohei yisho. The earth is the Lord's, with all of its fullness. The world is the Lord's, with all of its inhabitants. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in the holy place? She who has clean hands and a pure heart. She will receive a blessing from the Lord and a just reward from the God of deliverance. Eva always would say how grateful she was to be in this community and how special it was. And I always told her that she had it backwards, that it really was the other way around, that we were the lucky ones to have her. Because Eva was very special. If she said it to me once, she said it 1,000 times after services, on Friday evening, or on Saturday morning. When I see these little children running around, and I see them singing the songs and being in the synagogue and thinking back to what I saw in the camps, you don't know what it does to me. And then there would be tears, and then she would offer a reflection of usually her parents, but a member of the family, and she'd recall the last day that she saw a loved one. It's as if each week she would be reborn. And I was so happy that this person who had seen such moments in her life and who had lived through such a dark history was now here with us and seeing things she never thought she would see. At one point, she was coming Shabbat morning. And then it was sisterhood, and then it became Friday nights, a Bible class, then it was any darn time she wanted to come. And you could tell this was a cultured woman. You could tell you told me she had been a model for a while. She was a woman who carried herself, she was statuesque, even as her back made it difficult for her to stand straight. She never lost that presence. We always saw her at the synagogue, but we always heard about the family. She would talk about the grandchildren. She would talk about great-grandchildren. She'd talk about nieces and nephews, and it created such hope in her that you were all moving forward in your lives. It meant so much to her. It was, I believe, the resolution to all the memories that caused her pain. Debbie, I know she didn't share a lot of her past for a great many years. But you and your life and the existence of you made your mother know that she was alive. You were her proof that she had survived and her satisfaction. Growing up as a child, I know your parents were very much alive. Eva and Joseph were very much in love with each other, very supportive of each other. Loved their time together. He traveled a lot, was often away for work, but they enjoyed their own relationship as well as a social life with other couples. They were part of the Greeners, right? And Eva was a social butterfly. She made friends wherever she was. She loved to read. She loved classical music and opera. Your mother urged you to get involved in activities in ballet, in theater, in skiing, in ice skating, piano lessons. You proved yourself talented in some of them. You know, your mom always had an opinion on things. She had strong opinions on things. I will tell you, she had her opinion on you, and it was always very clear. Debbie's great. Debbie's great. If she said it once, she said it 1,000 times. Debbie's Debbie. She's great. Your mom lived her values, and her values were her family. She loved her Jewishness. She loved Israel. She was very patriotic for America, very patriotic. She knew the gifts of America, and she understood the uniqueness and the openness of America. And she didn't like it when others did not have that appreciation. I know we use the word legacy sometimes, maybe too much, and she never used the word. This is me. But I think she felt a certain legacy that she wanted to pass on, a legacy of history to all of you. Your dad, I know, was ill, and your mom cared for him, and then ultimately he passed away. And Eva experienced death at an age when most people don't, and here was a woman who had already experienced death many times over, and here was another death. She met and married Ron. They had a wonderful marriage for 40 years, and her closeness now extended to another family, her new family. And I want to offer condolences to you and her family that became like her children, her son and daughter. I mean, she really very much associated closeness with you and grew to understand the closeness now of a second family. And I wanted to offer my condolences to Steve and Lori. And she and Ron experienced the growth and the maturing of their families, meaningful moments together. And I know we were all together a few years ago when he passed. Eva was a great baker, a great cook. She was a perfectionist. She was meticulous, and she liked order. And I say to myself, how does a person who loves order respond when she lives in a world of such disorder? The world she was born into was in disarray, morally. Maybe she was right when she said to me, you don't know what it does to me to be here. Because how could I truly know what it does to her? She survived because she was tall. In the camps, one line led to death for the younger children of a certain age. And she, by age, should have been in that line. But she was tall. So she got into the other line. So all the potential as a young girl that she had, all her abilities, her right to survive and live a full life, all of it depended on how tall you are. How does one live with that? She was part of a blended family of 16 children herself. 8 survived. Simon, I want to wish you our condolences. You and Eva were always close, interactive together, and strong. Eva was a strong lady with a strong moral compass. Simon, you are always been a most impressive person, as was your sister, and I know you were there for each other. I know Eva was a news junkie. She wanted to keep up on the important current events. But she didn't want to simply be a history book. She lived in the here and now. She was interested, she was inspired in the young and in the new. She wanted the young people to respect history, but she wanted them to move into the future as well. And her name in Hebrew, of course, was Chava. Chava it's the Hebrew name for Eve. It means life, mother of all life. First woman of the Bible. Eva, just like Eve, gave birth and created a world. She brought substance and she brought thought and she brought context and a sense of ethics into our community and into our lives, and I know into yours. I remember my son saying to me that Eva was the one person he said she was the one person that really genuinely seemed to care and take a vested interest in his doing well. And I think she took a vested interest in the community. She wasn't just an observer. She felt a responsibility to make sure that the community moved into the future. She lived with a good name, and she died with a good name. Let's rise, everybody. El Mole Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hametzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Bemalot Kedoshim, Utehorim, Kazor Rakia, Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Chava, Bat Yehuda Esther, Shalchalo Lama, Began Eden Tehemenuchata, Ana Bala Rachamim Astireha, Beseter Kanafecha Leolamim, Utror Bitzrachem Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachalata, V'tanuach B'Shalom HaMishkava, V'nomar Amen. May we remember all of the worthy and the righteous deeds that she performed while in the land of the living. May her soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. God is now her portion. May she rest in peace. And we all say Amen. Let's be seated. We want to offer our condolences. Yes. Oh, okay. Who's going to say? Oh, eldest grandson. Joel, come on down. Sorry about that. Didn't realize that. That's okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe, or Joey, as most of you probably know me, Grandma Eva's oldest grandson. I always knew Grandma Eva loved me. Countless times she told me, of course, she loved all her grandchildren, but I was extra special because I was the firstborn, the first grandchild. And as a young boy, I always thought, well, that seems kind of inappropriate. But now that I have my own kids, I know that, yes, of course, that's wildly inappropriate. Don't tell kids that they are more special than their siblings. But I think what she meant, it wasn't a comparison between me and my siblings. It was about to emphasize how her life changed when she became a grandma. She had many family roles that we've heard about, but it always seemed to me that grandma was the role that she enjoyed most. And of course, I'm biased, but the pride she had in talking about us, as you all probably know, was enormous. Once she and I were at Beechwood Place, and we ran into an acquaintance, someone I hadn't met. Grandma introduced me, and then this person nodded knowingly and then asked me about details of my life that are probably protected by federal privacy acts, but that was Grandma. She would take every chance she had to tell people about her grandchildren, and she would take every chance she had to tell us how much she loved us. Earlier this week, we were discussing Grandma, and my dad sent me a text and said, "You know how much nachos you brought her, and that should make you happy." And at first I was confused. Nachos, I know she tried Mexican food in Holland for the first time last year, and she liked it, but I don't remember anything about nachos. But of course he was talking about nachas, the Yiddish word for pride for children or grandchildren, and that's actually made it into the Oxford English Dictionary as an English word, but not Dad's phone's autocorrect, so sorry. And sometimes I think for some kids that nachas idea can be kind of a burden, that it's your responsibility to keep doing more and more to bring pride to your parents and grandparents, but we never felt that, not from our parents and not from Grandma Eva. She was proud of anything we did. If she was here now sitting with us, she'd probably come up to you afterwards, and she'd ask if you saw her, Joey, up there with his suit, looking like a grown-up, speaking in front of all these people, and she'd tell you something I did when I was 5 years old, and by the end of the conversation, you'd know more about me than I do. Because when you get that much nachos, you have to share. But we loved her, and thank you all for being here.
We're going to offer our condolences to the family, of course. The family is going to be receiving friends following services, following the burial portion of the service, at Woodhawk Clubhouse. That's the address. 6363 Woodhawk Drive in Mayfield Heights. That's today until 7 p.m. Tomorrow, Monday, the family will receive at the residence of Jerry and Donna Fiala in Lyndhurst, 5369 Halford Circle in Lyndhurst. Tomorrow's hours in Lyndhurst are 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., and then again 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. That's tomorrow. Today, as I mentioned, Woodhawk Clubhouse, 6363 Woodhawk Drive, today until 7 p.m. We want to offer our condolences to Debbie and Doug, Steve and Lori, Simon, 5 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. We're going to now pause in the service to arrange our processional to move to Zion Memorial Park. The burial portion will be in Zion Memorial Park immediately following. Please remain in your seats another moment. The pallbearers, however, should now come forward.